All right, I think the question is, do you think the prediction markets are getting this right? There's about a 40% chance or so of the president having a ruling in his favor.
Yeah, I think this case is a close call. I think it's going to be a fascinating day tomorrow. I think the markets, the prediction markets, are underestimating the chances that the Trump administration wins. It's clearly not 100%. I wouldn't go there, but I think it's above that 50-50 mark, and they have it really under at 40% or lower.
All right, two questions for you on both sides of the coin. The first one, does it matter which way the court rules? Because the administration has a number of other ways to try to institute tariffs.
Yeah, that's the big question. So there are alternatives that the administration can use, other trade laws that they can lean on. Those are not perfect, right? They all have limits, and that's why the administration used IEPA in the first place. It was a very broad statute, gave the administration a lot of flexibility. But you can then pivot to those other statutes they didn't use in the first place. The other is we now have a huge series of trade deals with partners. And so this all raises the question, if the administration loses, would those countries rip up those deals and then take the risk of renegotiating or seeing what the administration does after the court ruling? My best guess is no, that most countries are going to leave those deals in place. So it does get to a little bit of a question, does the court case matter tomorrow? And I would say not so much for this round of tariffs, but for future presidents and future administrations and their use of IEPA, I think it's going to matter. But for the tariffs as they are currently in place, not so much.
Okay, Brian, let me ask you the other side of the coin. Would it be better if they just did stay in place? I actually have spoken to a number of CEOs. They say, well, a lot of business leaders, they feel a certain level of certainty because at least they know what the tariffs are and they can plan for that. If the tariffs are struck down, you could imagine there might be the president and the administration trying to take other tactics to get those tariffs, and that might create uncertainty. So when it comes to, the business community and maybe even the markets, is it better if the tariffs are actually held in place?
Yeah, Frank, I don't think this is a one-size-fits-all answer. Clearly, there are companies that have learned to adapt and restructured their supply lines, and they have found some certainty and some level of comfort. They know how to handle these. Those are probably some larger companies that have scale and have that flexibility. There are probably then some smaller companies that are in very niche markets that do not have that ability to move their supply chains around, who are stuck with the tariffs and are in a pretty dire strait. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see some of these smaller firms file for bankruptcy later in the year. And I don't have anybody in mind, but I do think we could see some importers facing real tough times if the tariffs stay in place. So it's not a one-size-fits-all answer.